Happy New Year, everyone! That was a countdown from me to you and me to everyone else, and
Yeah, what up?
So take your New Year's resolutions and stuff it up your pie hole, you dick face.
Yeah, what up? Cause this is my United States or whatever. And this is my United States or whatever.
home
Felt like I was a
sweet
little bit mean there.
home. Am I right?
Yeah,
Home sweet home.
I could have been nicer.
You coulda, but you weren't. You're just a big jerk.
Is this Final Fantasy X?
No. Don't insult this song like that.
What is it?
That game is just plain good and evil. This is beyond good and evil.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Some sounds so the same. That's
I've never played
game.
Final Fantasy X. Can you believe that?
no. Yes, I can.
Or Final Fantasy X. The last one I played was 8,
Oh well, that's one of my favorites. So
which recently got released on Steam, actually.
did
Yeah.
I bought it?
Did you? It's like $12. They didn't even put it on sale in the holiday sale. Screw
yeah, too
them.
new.
Screw you, Squeenix.
Screw you, Squeenix.
So, but they had 7 on sale, but not 8. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah, it's because 8 just came out, literally.
Yeah, in 1999. So, or whatever.
Sega Dreamcast.
Well, anyway, so Happy New Year, Justin.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
So I'm already ready for the next year.
Yeah, this will be a good year. This will be a kick-ass year.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll have a good year with the podcast. I think are we going to be on iTunes at some point soon?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. Because that'll be a lot easier to get it, in touch with our podcast if you just
I
download
gotcha.
it.
I know it's
You don't have to
frustrating.
worry about getting a virus or anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about any malware from iTunes, even though a lot of people probably do consider iTunes to be malware, but that's a
That's
different
true.
podcast.
Yeah.
Oh well,
I think I got a virus when I cut my finger the other day.
That's not good. Don't cut
Yeah,
your finger.
I should have had that tetanus shot.
I haven't had a tetanus shop. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't bought any tetanus in years. I haven't had a tetanus shot in a long time. Probably since
Ooh.
wow. When was I in first grade? Just kidding. But
Yeah, time
it's
ago.
been a while. Yeah. Well, I haven't done anything that's
Old.
required me to need one, but now that
Actually,
I've
I
said
think
that,
I did get one when I went to Afghanistan.
yeah,
I think they
you
gave me
have
one.
to.
I got a
Yeah.
bunch of shots, so
Yeah. That's good though, because I don't have to worry about anything, podcasting with you. Which is
no, I know. We're good. You won't have to worry. It's okay.
Thank God.
I know.
I was starting to
So-
worry there.
2014 is here.
Is it
How
really?
are we? Yeah. How are
Wow.
we ringing in the whatever podcast?
Well, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Basically, I think we're just playing catch up on 2013 stuff we missed. Basically,
Oh,
is
yeah.
what we're going. Um,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we were going to start. I think with talking about one of the games you recommended in your Game of the Year edition last week.
Gotcha.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
I think I do,
It's
but go ahead.
It's that one that you said was better than other people let on, and the combat was simplistic, but it wasn't too bad of a game.
I
It was
don't know if I
memorable.
remember.
Well, I see what you did there. But the game we're talking about is Remember Me.
Oh, of course, I'd never forget you. Oh,
course.
the game.
Right. The Steam
Yeah.
sale. During the Steam sale, it was actually it went back down to $12.50 again, and so that was perfect price to buy it at. And I didn't realize until like 3 hours later I could have got it for $10 at Green Man Gaming, but I didn't pay any attention. So anyway, so I paid $12.50 for it, and it's worth that at least. I mean, just to look at it, it's a really nice looking game.
Oh yeah.
The art in it is really memorable, surprisingly, despite the title. And the story isn't that bad. I think it's interesting. It has a nice setting, good atmosphere. The soundtrack
the
is really
music.
well done. Yeah. So, the gameplay is where the game really got its mediocre marks from reviewers. And For those of you who don't know, it's a beat 'em up, and it's really, really limited beat 'em up. The thing is, the system that they use is it's like you have 4 predetermined combos, and you have to basically take the moves of attached to X and Y and plug them in as you like progress. You unlock new like linkers. I don't know what you call them, but anyway, you have to
Stuff like
take it upon yourself, like
power
backhands
moves and
yeah.
healing moves.
Right, and that's the interesting thing. What they tried to do with that was they knew it was like a simplistic system, obviously, but they tried to throw in some strategy by making it, kind of fleshed out with how you heal yourself. For example, is there's certain moves that you unlock, and they're underneath like a category that has like the first aid kit icon, and like in order to heal yourself, you have to do that move in the combo. So like you plug it in somewhere early in the combo so that like the second hit in the combo will heal you, something like that. So
yeah, and if you do it on a finisher, like it'll do more healing.
Right, and then there's like there's a chain category, so like it repeats the effect of the previous hit. So if you had like a healing hit followed by the chain, then like the chain would repeat it and you would heal yourself twice, things like that. Then there's ones that do more damage and ones that throughout the game you earn special moves, and you have this like weapon wheel of sorts, and basically after you do a special move, it has a cooldown period and it counts down. Some of them take like 2 minutes to cool down.
Some of the moves take a while.
Yeah, and some of the moves you unlock in the combo can actually cut down the cooldown time of the special moves. And so you can link those together and then knock off 20-30 seconds each combo and stuff like that. So it's an interesting idea. I just don't know that the idea is that good. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is, I feel that Remember Me caters to a very it kind of caters to very specific people, I think. And by that, I mean, like, I grew up playing, like, side-scrolling beat-em-ups like Turtles, Simpsons Arcade, Streets of Rage, all that kind of stuff. And I still like those games. Like, nostalgia or not, I mean, I have fun with it. Hell, the other day I was playing Fighting Force on PlayStation, and I was just like, God, this game is so limited. But, it's just like beat-em-ups, I just like them. And I feel like Remember Me is a combination of that style of gameplay, and then I also feel it's a combination of Uncharted. And I say that because
scripted,
it's very
set PC.
It's scripted, cinematic.
It's very set PC.
There's platforming. Yes, there's there's set pieces. And the thing is there's a lot of people, surprisingly, that don't like that kind of gameplay either. They really don't like the whole set piece driven action games. I mean, there's people that despise Tomb Raider and Uncharted.
Right.
So, and there's people that despise beat 'em ups like quite a bit. And I feel like, if you don't like those genres, one or the other, you're really going to probably like Remember Me, because it basically combines those two. But for me, I like those. So when I played through Remember Me, I was like, this is fucking cool. And I thought it was just neat because, I don't know, you don't see a really cinematic brawler.
That's true. That's true. Going in, like, I think if people know what to expect, then I think they'll go easier on it. Especially if it's their type of game, like whenever they go in expecting a brawler. Like the truth is, like the world and the atmosphere are almost kind of RPG like, or even kind of something like Mirror's Edge. It's just like this. It really reminded me of Mirror's Edge, and it ended up reminding me of how much I like Mirror's Edge, because Mirror's Edge, like the first time through, I was actually kind of like lukewarm on it because there's a lot of trial and error. And you die a lot, and but once you learn the levels and you learn how to speed through them and all that different kind of stuff, it becomes like this really enjoyable experience. This you can't really speed run because it has a ton of unskippable cutscenes, which I don't like. But like the first time through, it tells a decent story, and it does make you want to keep playing. I think the combat system is interesting enough to keep playing, and you can change it up a little bit. I mean, you can change up the moves. You can change up like the strategy of what you're doing, because you unlock the special moves, and you have to do certain special moves against certain enemies, and
Oh yeah,
it's
you
so
really
it's
have to
not
change
just
it up
like
or you get screwed.
yeah, it's not like just a straightforward like just press X and win all the time brawler.
And
It's you
these
actually have to
special
mix up your
buttons,
stuff and
these special attacks you can do really add to it as well.
right. And that's one thing. One thing that like drove me nuts actually was um, the free flow combat system that you can unlock. And I'm talking about there's one of the special moves is free flow, and they let you do like this kind of Arkham City esque kind of combo where you just like go from enemy to enemy, or just like unleash a 10 hit combo on this one guy and knock him out. And it kind of showed me like, well, these guys actually can do that kind of combat, and I think I would have enjoyed that a little more if they had just let me like do a little bit more free flowing stuff instead of
Yeah.
just
They were trying to
limiting
be
it to that
different
one
though, I
power
think,
up.
is what it was.
Yeah, they were, and that's the thing is like I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to like actually stand out and kind of you know I don't know, like be original, but I don't know that it's a good thing to base an entire game off of.
True, it's understandable, but here's the thing also that people don't tend to think about these things, and I mean, I guess when you're looking at it from one side, yeah, you wouldn't give a shit about it, but another thing that really kind of made me appreciate the game more was the fact that this was a developer's first game, Don't Nod Entertainment,
Yeah,
like their first game.
right.
So for me, I think for being their absolute first game, it's pretty damn good. I mean, there's definitely room for improvement. There's definitely room to change up things and critique and fix things. But for being like their first game, I was like, bravo, good
Yeah,
job.
I don't disagree with you. Like I honestly I thought it was really well polished. I thought the world that they created, like I said, was like really well thought out and compelling and fleshed out, and the art is amazing. Honestly, the everything like presentation wise, it was really nice. But um, I just think it was just the foundation of the game that like just had the problem, and I don't know, like it wasn't bad necessarily. I don't think it's a bad game. I just think it's kind of average, or maybe above average gameplay wise. But I
Yeah,
think there's a lot of good ideas and there's a lot of stuff to build from.
yeah,
The
exactly.
the
And
thing is, I'm not sure how it's sold, and the problem with today's market is that if you don't have a hit like straight out, or at least
you're dead.
prove to yourself that you make your money back for the publisher, you might not get another shot. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what they're working on next, but
Well, and that's extremely disappointing, but only fuels why we get Call of Duties and all that other shit
yeah,
constantly,
exactly.
which is really annoying because that's why we don't get original IPs anymore
Yeah,
because nobody will go out and buy them. I mean, it's. I can't tell you how many times people complain. Oh, there's nothing original coming out, but then stuff does, and people don't freaking buy it, and it's
that's
like
true.
you're the
And then
problem.
it seems like a lot of this new stuff that, like honestly, like it's not Aliens, Colonial Marines bad by any means, and
Oh hell no.
it's not, you know what I mean, and it's not the best game and it's not the most compelling game, but if you go back and play something like the original Uncharted, neither's that, and
Oh,
it's
dude,
like
it's funny you say that because I was playing that. If, like I'm playing through those again with Jessica. She's never seen them, and I was just playing it like before we got on the podcast, and I was playing. I was
really,
like, this is fun, but man, is this dated?
yeah, it is, and it's amazing to me how much that series improved over time. I
Oh yeah,
personally, the third one's my favorite one, but
same here.
the thing is, like, for their first effort, it's not a terrible effort by any stretch. At least they had the balls to go out and like do something different and to create a world, like that they envisioned, and just do anything they wanted basically. They didn't play it safe at all, and they weren't rewarded for it. But who knows? Like maybe they'll come out and surprise us. Like honestly, I mentioned this last week. I mentioned Ninja Theory when I mentioned DMC. Like their previous games, I thought were okay, not great, but they had like nice art, they had decent
Hmm.
writing, great facial animation, stuff like that. They just had a vision, like they know
Yeah,
what they want to do and they stick to it. And eventually they came up with DMC, and I thought DMC was a massive improvement gameplay wise over their previous efforts. So like something like that could definitely happen, I think, from Don't Nod. They just need the opportunity to do it. So hopefully they'll get a chance in the future. But
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's funny that you were playing Beyond Good and Evil's music at the beginning of the podcast because that's another game that this reminded me of.
Hmm.
Just, I
Oh
think
yeah,
it was because of
that's a
the
good point.
world,
Well, that and
and
there's like a lot of running and shimmying and grip like grabbing onto ledges and doing things like that. Like, and they both have mixed race female protagonists, and this is
well, and
there's a
futuristic
lot of
setting, and
futuristic
but
setting, the
but I mean,
scripted
like
events and things
Beyond
like
Good and
that too.
Evil got rated extremely well when it came out, and it bombed.
Absolutely bombed.
I
Yeah.
mean, horribly, and that was one of my favorite. That game blew me away when I played it. Like,
Hmm.
I didn't know about the reviews or anything. A buddy of mine actually, I came over to his house and he's like, "Dude, play this," and I was hooked. Like, I was like, I gotta get this. Like, I gotta get it." And now we've been clamoring for part two, and supposedly they're working on it. They're not, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think for their first game, Remember Me isn't maybe the most memorable game per se, but it's a good first attempt. And I think if they have the chance to either work on a sequel or something further in that same style or vein, they could do probably a better job.
Yeah. As long as they take the criticism to heart and actually
Yes.
go and
Well, it's
work
like
on
one of those
improving it.
things that
And
I
I
feel
think they,
like they worked on it.
yeah,
Like they had an idea. They're like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this, and they worked on it, and they did what they set out to do because, like you said, there's that move in the
it
game
works
where it's like,
fine.
oh
It works fine. Like it's perfect.
yeah,
It's a perfectly playable game. It's an enjoyable game too. Like I didn't really get bored with it, and I didn't
did
ever.
you beat it?
Yeah, I did, and I beat it in like 2 days. So I beat it like it took me 10 hours I think too. So it wasn't just like like I'll just put an hour and a day into it or something like that. I got pretty hooked on it, and I actually finished it in a couple days. But um, another thing I wanted to touch on really quick was the memories that you can actually like tamper
Hmm.
with and those types of things. Another really interesting idea. I'm not sure. Like I went through, and it's so like set on what you have to change and things like that. Like there's no real illusion of
It's
control.
very it's almost very heavy rainish when it comes to that part. I thought
Right.
in a
Yeah.
way.
I thought it was interesting though, like the rewinding and fast forwarding on your own whim and having to find glitches in the system and things like that. So basically, what we're talking about is there are sequences in the game where you have to change someone's memory of an event that happened in their life. And for example, there's a part where I'll just call her Jade. I forget her name, but anyway, so Jade, Alex, whatever her name is, she she remembers why she gets put in prison, and she forced a guy to kill himself because she tricked him, changed his memory into him killing his wife, and his wife's not dead, right? And like she basically has him accidentally kill his wife in his memory, and then he thinks his wife's dead, but she's really not, and he's like, "I'm so sorry," and he just like kills himself. So it's just really kind of odd system story wise, but it's interesting the whole controlling memories thing and theme of the game.
Did Did you notice how like there wasn't really any puzzles, but like at the end there was like two puzzles, and I was like, "The what?"
Yeah, and I was wondering, like, one of the puzzles is well, both puzzles, but they're like the head guard of the prison standing around like reciting poetry or something, and it's like he sits there and says like the head of one, the humanity, blah 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 blah, and he's just like does all this philosophical shit, but he's dressed like a grunt, you know. I was like, why is he being all so philosophical and deep, but he looks like an idiot? Like it's I don't know, but it was just kind of weird. Yeah, you're right. The puzzles just came out of nowhere, and I don't know. The game at times I thought it seemed kind of random, but like they have you backtrack a couple of times. You go across places. You go on. Uh, you go back. What is it? You go at the end of the game. They make you go back to basically where you start
Yeah, I
in
think
the
I
prison,
vaguely remember that.
and things just like instead of looking like more run down or anything, they just like they had people there before and now they don't. Like that's the
Well, I
difference.
thought one area was flooded.
Yeah. Well, the whole city becomes flooded. It takes place in Paris in whenever 20 whatever 100 year. But anyway, they
In the year
yeah, Paris
2000.
gets flooded, and it was cool like seeing the Eiffel Tower and all this stuff that they envision the future might look like. But there was a lot of Fifth Element in there too. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
especially at the beginning when she like wakes up and she has the straps on, and it's like she's basically like Lilu.
Yeah, I
Lilu Dallas
expected her to be like,
multipass.
multipass.
Yeah, multipass. Hey Jade, Alex, Lilu, whatever your name is. Yeah. So anyway, but Remember Me is definitely a game you should give a try. If you can give it, I don't know, if you can give it like a couple hours, you'll understand the gameplay, and then just get it really cheap. I guess, because I can definitely see why people wouldn't like it, but if you like scripted, linear, Uncharted-esque, mixed with
Brawlers.
mixed with like Final Fight type of basic, super basic beat 'em up gameplay, then give it a shot. Especially because you can't play the Ninja Turtles arcade game anymore on PSN because it got taken off. Ha ha ha.
Huh.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's such BS.
I can play it 'cause
Licensing
I downloaded
issues.
it.
Speaking of licensing issues, let's talk about that for a second. So
Okay.
the games like the Marvel games, like the X-Men Brawler and some other stuff, got pulled off of like download services like PSN and XBLA, and that includes a game that, speaking of like lighthearted kind of old school beat 'em ups, got pulled from Steam, which I actually jumped on a code for as soon as I found out because it's going to be rare. Deadpool. I've been playing that the past couple days. That game is, yeah, it's it's a game. They put it together and shipped it. It's kind of weird,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like, it's kind of like an odd game, isn't it? Did you play through it?
Yes. I beat it. Yeah.
Okay, like I'm only in like the third or so level, but I like the sense of
It-
humor. I like
yes.
Nolan North. Nolan North's really good too, but yeah, man, the gameplay's it brings me back to like the Dreamcast Spider-Man game, something like super super basic. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about.
And it's really ugly, and I don't know. I'm playing on a PC like twice the frame rate of console, so I can imagine what it was like at 30 FPS with like just nasty aliasing everywhere. But still, it's
It's
pretty
not a
rough.
looker.
No, it's pretty rough around the edges. But somehow I still get enjoyment out of the just basic button mashing type of gameplay it has. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just
It's
how
fun.
I am, I
It's fun.
guess. It can be fun. It's You have to kind
The
of
humor
convince
is the
yourself it's
humor
really
is the
fun.
selling point, in my opinion.
No, it is definitely, especially like think the most fun I've had with it so far was like walking around his apartment, just
Yeah,
doing
well,
random
And
crap.
did you see that thing posted on Gaff that basically said that
Yeah,
Activision was like, "Yeah, we're aiming for like a 64."
yeah. So
So
that's sad.
It
I
was
think they
rushed.
actually said they're aiming for 64 or lower. Like
yeah.
they were trying like okay, Activision basically said we don't give a crap about this game, and then at High Moon they were like, well, okay, if you don't care, then we're not gonna care, and we're basically like they were sabotaging it, and they were like trying to get as low a Metacritic score as possible. But I mean, that kind of fits in with the theme of the game anyway, right? Because it's kind of like
Yeah.
the anti-hero kind of.
Yeah, self-parodying.
Yeah, exactly. So the High Moon's like, okay, well, you don't care. Well, we won't care either. In fact, we're gonna make it
Yeah.
worse. So
And it's not
But-
like they don't, I liked the Transformers games they made, so I mean,
speaking
why
of
I was kinda like-
super linear basic shooters, just kidding, but
it don't matter if it's linear. I mean, everything
No,
has its place.
super linear. There's a difference. There's Crisis is linear. That's
Well, I mean,
super
you could
linear.
say Uncharted's super linear too.
Uncharted is super linear, but it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And then that's where the difference between the Transformers games comes in. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Jesus,
I
don't
know,
worry.
I know.
No, I'm not kidding. Actually, I hate those games. But hey, write to me. You can email me. You can find me on Twitter and voice your opinion on how stupid I am for thinking that. So anyway, moving on. I've upset Justin now just because
I know. It's like
I
I'm
don't
not
like those
talking
games.
to you.
Like, who the fuck doesn't like those games? Well, you found them.
Nah,
No.
it's okay.
I'm just kidding. I actually do like the Transformers games to a degree. Like they're good to like kind of fire up when you're drunk or when you're like in the need of just some like stress relief because you
Mhm.
can really blow through them like pretty easily.
Oh yeah.
They're not like
Definitely.
challenging at all. And
I
I
like
love
the-
I actually do like changing into the car and then changing back to
Yeah.
Transformer,
I
whatever,
beat the second one
the
at
Autobot, whatever it is.
and then I reviewed it, and then I streamed
Mhm.
it, and I literally beat it again, like
There
on
you
the
go.
stream, and like I don't know, I don't normally play games that soon, but I was
Sure,
just really enjoyed it.
that's cool. No, I was I'm trying to think of the last game I played through that quickly. I can't even remember.
Well, you played through Remember Me pretty
No,
quickly.
not. I mean, played through a second time, like after I
Oh,
beat it. I'm never playing through Remember Me again. I mean, that's just a fact, but it's because I can't skip any cutscenes. If they let me
yeah.
skip any cutscenes, I'd probably go right
I
through it
I
again.
mean, I can say the names of games I've replayed. I've replayed Alan Wake quite a few times. I have replayed all the Uncharted games. I have replayed some of the Final Fantasy games. Um, I've replayed Splatterhouse. I tend to notice I replay a lot of like hack and
Brawlers,
slash games.
because those games are. I don't know, like you have the same gameplay throughout the entire thing. I think so. Like,
Mhm.
there's not a whole lot of like progression. Like, there's progression, but there's like unlocking moves or something like that. Like, you know
Well,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
the basic like crux of the gameplay is there from the very beginning, so you don't have to. And then if it's even better. Like I've played through God of War several times just because I love just
same here.
mashing
It's
buttons and
another
beating the
one.
hell out of everything, or the Wolverine game. I've played that a few times because I
Yeah, that's a
enjoyed
good one.
that. Or I don't know. I'm trying to think. Resident Evil 4. I've played through that at least
Yeah,
20 times. Like seriously. So
yeah.
just anything with the like
Not
the
Resident Evil 6?
satisfaction. What's that?
Not Resident Evil 6?
I couldn't even get through that once, unfortunately. I wish. I tried. I really tried, but I wasn't even gonna buy that one. And then people like you recommended it, and I was like, like, I'll give it a
Well,
shot.
I
I give it
recommend
a shot.
everything.
Well, you recommend everyone try everything. You don't
That's
recommend
true.
everything. You don't recommend Aliens, Colonial Marines, right?
Well, I even said I enjoyed it, but yeah, I did not
I
recommend it
actually
per se.
enjoyed that one too. I hate admitting that, but I mean, look,
I mean,
I get the fact. Go ahead.
it's just like in my opinion, it was just like Duke Nukem Forever. It's like games. It should have been like games released in 2000 that should have been released in 1996.
It was
That's how I
super,
felt.
super, super basic of a shooter, and the auto aim was absolutely atrocious. I mean, the auto aim almost ruined the entire game for me. But as far as like, you know, being a shooter goes, and I mean, it's Aliens, which is cool, and
Yeah,
you get to use that assault rifle, which is awesome, and the flamethrower, which is cool, and the grenade launcher, which is awesome, and you get what I'm saying. Like there's an appeal there. It's
yes,
just
there is.
and I played the
The big
PC version like after they gave it a few upgrades graphically and
Yeah,
things like
it
that.
looked
But
nice,
I guess I mean it
nicer.
looked yeah it looked serviceable. But yeah, it's Aliens. I mean if you're into Aliens, like I'm a fucking whore for Aliens, I'll just play it. But yeah, it wasn't great by any stretch, but
But I mean,
it was
buying it
super.
for $5 to $10, which you can usually
I
get
think I
it
paid
now.
two.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think I paid $2 for it, and I know I paid $1 for Duke Nukem Forever. So
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
that
when you're
kind of
paying
stuff's
that
worth
low of
it.
a price,
Yeah,
how can you really complain?
it's the same price as like a iTunes song, which is like
Yeah,
2 minutes of entertainment compared to 4 hours of
that's
complete
speaking of that, that's something I've
torture.
realized to do from here on out. If I'm not buying new games unless I definitely intend to play through them immediately, because other than that, they drop in price 3 months later to
Oh,
40
it's
bucks
silly. Why
sometimes.
would you Why would you buy a game at full price anymore? Like
Yeah,
there's a meme going around, and it's for PC gaming. It's just never spend more than $20 for a game. If you're a PC
yeah.
gamer. Like that's pretty much how it is. Like I almost bought Need for Speed Rivals today for $20, and then I thought like wait a minute, Most Wanted, which came out in 2012, was only a year old, and it was going for $5 like this past couple weeks. So, and I think I paid like $30 or something for Most Wanted, which I thought was like a really low price, but 6 months later it's $5. I'm like, I could have just waited. Like seriously, it's not even worth playing because I have so many games that I haven't even played that I've bought at such
Exactly.
low prices that I haven't even gotten to them yet because So I need to get to those at some point. That's why I played through Fear 1 and 2 recently.
Hmm.
It's because it'd been so long. I want to get to Fear 3 because I bought Fear 3 and I haven't played it yet. So
Everybody hated on that, but I beat it. I was hooked on it and
it's
beat it.
okay.
I remember.
It's not. It's just unoriginal. That's all.
Yeah,
There's nothing original about it, and there's nothing original about most of these games we're talking about, which is the thing. I think like people hate on them because they don't have like a certain thing to remember them for, or they're nothing great or outstanding, but they do what they do generally well because they're made by professionals, and they're made on Unreal Engine 3 for the most part, which is like one of those engines you can just kind of like
churn shit off
throw a
of.
game together if you're not really that gifted of a programmer or anything like that. So, I mean, these games come together and they do what they set out to do, which is just sell however many copies. But I mean, they always
Yeah.
have like some ridiculous goal. Like I'm sure Aliens, Colonial Marines had some multi-million number, but
See, the biggest issue with that game was just they advertised it falsely. That was the biggest issue. You know,
oh,
they showed footage of it
yeah,
that wasn't even in the game and
right.
it didn't look at it that way at all, etc. So,
Well, Far Cry
but I
3 did
mean,
the same thing, but Far Cry 3 ended up being a good game, which is
well, yeah,
that was the thing that actually like helped it, I guess. But otherwise, people would have been bitching about that too. I did see some
sure.
people bitching about it actually, but just because Far Cry 3 was a fun game, they just kind of overlooked it. But that's just how it is. I mean, that's pretty much what 2013 was about for me. Like nothing really. I mean, other than maybe like Shadow Warrior or something like that, nothing really like kind of jumped out at me as being like an exceptional game all year long. I don't know. It was just kind of one of those years. You just have to kind of find stuff that's kind of diamonds in the rough, you know. And there were
Well, I
plenty of them.
mean, and it just depends, yeah, what your preferences are. Some people love The Last of Us. Some people love BioShock Infinite. Some people don't.
Yeah. No, I like BioShock Infinite's a good example. Like I liked it, okay, but I didn't think it was really amazing. I don't know. Like I liked the ending a lot,
Hmm.
and I think it was one of those like Sixth Sense syndromes where like people were so high on the ending that they kind of looked back and they were like, "Oh my god, that was such an amazing game." But to me, it was like personally, my favorite Bioshock is 2, and people are gonna crucify me for that, but whatever. The I think the gameplay is the best in 2 because it's basically the first game with dual, you do your plasmids with your gun out at the same time. You don't actually have to like switch between either one. And then BioShock Infinite took the same gameplay that 2 basically had mastered, and instead of like redoing it, they got rid of like the guns that you can carry and things like that. They have a 2 gun limit, and like you have to kind of switch between plasmids and stuff like that. It's just like I don't know. They just kind of like imposed these weird limits on it, and it wasn't as enjoyable to me because it wasn't like as free flowing. And I don't know.
Hmm.
This
Well, it's just interesting because that series, I mean, that series in general has just kind of gone backwards since, because like
Oh, I
System
saw you
Shock
were
2,
playing that today.
yeah, System Shock 2 is actually like more RPG-ish,
Yeah.
and there's an inventory and all this, and it's like then they had BioShock, and it kind of like, well, we're gonna just remove all the RPG-ish aspects for the most part. I mean, there's some RPG aspects in there, but there's just more shit and exploration, I think, in System Shock 2. And it's interesting too that System Shock 2 has horror in it, and then BioShock had a little bit, and then it kind of disappeared. Then BioShock 2 is like, well, fuck it. And BioShock Infinite didn't really have any horror elements at all
Yeah.
either.
No, BioShock Infinite was just like a sci-fi game.
Yeah.
Basically.
I
I
mean, don't
mean,
get me wrong, the world's awesome.
yeah,
Like the
I
idea of
agree.
the
Like
world and
I think the
the
lore and
just
stuff like that's really cool. Like I remember reviewing BioShock
it's like
1 and
I can't
2.
think of, huh?
I played through BioShock 1 and 2 like back to back, literally. Like and that was the first time I'd ever played through the first BioShock was when BioShock 2 came out.
Uh-huh.
And I reviewed it for Control Alt Kill, and I gave BioShock 1, I think I gave it a B plus because I liked it, but I liked the story for the most part. And then in BioShock 2, I think I gave that an A minus because I liked the gameplay better and the story wasn't as good. But BioShock Infinite is kind of like I don't know, like it like I said, it takes steps back from BioShock 2 in gameplay, combat at least, but I think it's I think it's way better than Bioshock One gameplay wise. But yeah, it just didn't like in 2013 as a shooter. It just kind of felt, I don't know, kind of limited to me. I was kind of expecting more because Bioshock One came out in what, '07? Like it's old, and it doesn't, it hasn't aged well, but you can kind of chalk it up to like a new generation of consoles. They're going after a new audience with like the more slimmed down System Shock stuff and all that stuff. But like Bioshock Infinite, it had been in the works for so long and it was so hyped, and it's just like coming off Bioshock 2, which Ken Levine didn't even make. It's like another team outdid him at his own game, and it was kind of weird for me. But
Well, I mean, I'll admit it's like what for being for being what it was, why did it take so long to create?
yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing. Well, they did come out with the stories and stuff. Like he had trouble with the religious stuff and the racism and stuff like that because like trying to balance that stuff and not come out as like exploitative and things like that.
Mhm.
That's kind of tough to do when
Well,
you're
yeah,
writing
I
something
understand
like
that, but just from a gameplay perspective, and
Yeah,
if you really boil it down to the gameplay, it
it's
doesn't
really
really do
basic.
anything much different.
No, and it, like I said, like it's kind of crisisy, like mixed because you have the open areas and you can like use the environment, as cover and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And the sky rail thing was cool, but like
Oh
they
yeah.
they totally ripped that off from Metroid Prime 3. But anyway, um, the whole thing was, it was just kind of like a bunch of ideas thrown together, and it wasn't like I didn't think any of it was really original as far as gameplay was. But the
Mhm.
world was awesome, like you said, and the story was cool, but even though it was confusing as hell. But yeah, you get it after you read Wikipedia. So,
Mhm.
um, moving on, I guess. Um, one of the things I wanted to talk about was segueing from like first-person shooters into sort of a first-person shooter, not really, but people know this movie that I watched. They know the character from some of the video games. Uh, there was Escape from Butcher Bay, and there was Assault on Dark Athena, and which wasn't nearly as good. But I'm talking about Riddick. If anyone's seen Riddick, have you seen Riddick?
No, I have not.
Okay. Are you like a Pitch Black fan at all?
I did like Pitch Black, and I never saw the second one either. So
Okay. Well, it's an interesting story behind like the whole thing because Pitch Black was like it was a good, really small scale indie
yeah, it was a low
kind of
budget.
sci-fi film. Yeah, it was very, very low budget. Even in 2000, I think it was $23 million budget, which is really, really low even by that standards. But I looked all this up the other day. Anyway, I think that movie made like $58 million at the box office worldwide. So that's literally more than double its budget. So that's considered a success. Um, then they decided to sign Vin Diesel on for like a bigger, huger, more epic, in scope sequel, because he was coming off of the Fast and the Furious, and he was coming off of Triple X, and he was like, this really bankable star, or so they thought. So for the sequel, The Chronicles of Riddick, they like went ahead and made this gigantic world. Like they like upped the budget by like 6 times, and they just like went all out, and they made this big narrative around him being like this chosen whatever, like this chosen heir to a throne, and he's the last of this planet's like citizens, and he's kind of like Superman, I guess. But they built this entire like universe around him, and the movie ended up completely bombing. Like it did like 60 million worldwide at the box office or something. It was awful. And so Universal, of course, became very hesitant to do any more movies because they lost a lot of money. So Vin Diesel, like, he loves the character of Riddick, and anybody who knows Vin Diesel, like, as anything more than just the personality, like you see in movies, like he's a huge geek, and he plays like Dungeons and Dragons and does all this crazy stuff. He goes to Comic Cons and stuff like that. So he loves the sci-fi aspect of it, and he loves the character of Riddick. So he was willing to bankroll another sequel like himself if he couldn't get funding, privately. So eventually he talked Universal after because Universal also does the Fast and Furious movies. He was able to convince his bosses there that, I'll do these movies for you if you let me do mine. So eventually he did Riddick this past year, and it's a much needed return to the Pitch Black setting. Basically, is what it is. It's a much smaller in scale movie. It's a much more indie feeling movie, and it's a lot like Pitch Black in that it's Riddick stranded on a planet, like literally by himself, and
It's like Castaway.
pretty much, yeah. He gets like abandoned by the people that he rules in the second movie, and he gets left on the planet to die. But of course, he's Riddick. He's a badass, so he takes control of nature and like basically gets these bounty hunters' attention, and they come to the planet to hunt him, and he starts taking them out one by one and different stuff like that. But anyway, there are these creatures that this is where it's really like Pitch Black. There are these creatures that like overrun the planet, and when night falls, and it's up to he's trying to get off the planet, and it's basically man versus nature in this kind of weird like survivalish type of sci-fi setting.
Does he drink his own pee?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he did. He does kick a machete through a guy's head though, which is a pretty cool scene. Like he cuts a guy. Yeah, it goes right through the guy's face. He looks at the guy and he goes, "You, with the sword, I'm gonna kill you within 5 seconds after these cuffs come off." And the guy's like, "Huh, me? What? Whatever." Like, and he literally kills him within 5 seconds of his cuffs coming off. It's amazing. But there's another part. He's spying on this chick when she's like bathing, and he tells her, he goes, "I like your toenails, pink." And she goes, "Yeah, pink some or other." And he goes, "Huh, matches your nipples." Like, wow, what a fucking perv. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck what he says or who he's saying it to or any of that stuff. But overall, like, I was actually pretty surprised by how much I ended up liking it, because it's basically Pitch Black 2 instead of Chronicles of Riddick 2. And so
that's good.
Yeah, and I was really surprised by that, but at the same time, not really, because I looked at the budget afterwards and it was like 1/3 of Chronicles of Riddick. But I'd like to see more games come out, because that Butcher Bay game's pretty cool and it still holds up. But
yeah, the Riddick games were good.
Yeah, but I looked just to see if it was a success and there's any chance in hell that there might be a sequel. And good news, actually. They I think they spent like, what was it, 38 million? 38 million on the budget, and it made 98 million worldwide. So there you go. So it more than doubled its budget, just like Pitch Black. It's amazing.
It just goes to show that sometimes you don't need to fucking epic the shit out of your stuff.
Yep. And I think a lot of video games could learn from that too. But hey, that's just me talking. But if you have a chance, though, I would say check out Riddick, because it's not too long, it's not too big, it's not too gaudy, and I like Vin Diesel, but I don't know. I know a lot of people don't like Vin Diesel. But...
speaking of, you got me thinking of another topic. I mean, I don't know if we want to delve into this, but
we don't.
Okay, I'll save it for next whatever.
What do we want to get into?
No, I was just gonna say is that you're talking about how games could learn a thing or two about that with their budgets, but I don't know about you, but I feel like lately we are just swamped with indie games. I mean, I used to remember a time where there was like hardly any games coming out, at the store, online.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, you'd be scrounging to see like some guy's basement coding he was doing about some game,
I think it might just be more of a case of they're getting more exposure. There's always been like these crazy ass indie games coming out, but they're also pretty good now. Like, I was playing Gianna Sisters the other day. Have you played that?
Oh yeah.
Gianna Sisters.
Twisted Sisters?
Yeah. It's a fucking great game. Like,
it reminds me of like a Saturn game,
It does, yeah, that's a good point. I was first turned on to it because I know it was a Kickstarter game, right?
I believe so.
I remember people saying like it was one of the success stories out of Kickstarter, and then someone mentioned it has this like light and dark Ikaruga kind of system, and I went ahead and bought it on the Steam sale for like a couple bucks. It's actually really good, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like it seems like there's this like a big focus on indie games now. Like hey, look
Well,
at us, like we have indie games, and it's
well,
like it's supposed to make it cool or more
there's
like
that, but there's, I
you
mean,
know
it's just like I feel like there's a point now where I've really realized like there is no way I can ever keep up with everything anymore. There's just constantly too much shit coming out.
no
There's just so much out there that it's like I feel it's almost like YouTube in a sense. It's like now, back in the day you could have been like, dude, I fucking
or
made a game, and dude, yeah,
the
people are
iOS
playing it.
App Store. That's how.
But now it's like you could be like, I make a game, it's like, dude, nobody's playing it. Oh yeah, dude, you don't stick out.
Pretty much. That's what I was saying. Like the iOS App Store, the like at first it was just like a cool place where like some indie games would get put on and you'd find some things like from some established publishers and stuff like that. But now it's just like a sea of shit, and every now and then you'll have like this like bottle you can climb into and get out of the shit. It's just amazing. But like I don't know. There's I know what you're
Well,
saying,
well,
but
there's
I
that,
don't.
and then I haven't even touched base on the whole fucking uh pay to play alphas that are just
Oh, get the
running
fuck out of
rampant
here
now
with that.
too.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that stuff. There's a Steam early access stuff like that. I'm not into that. You can keep your game until it's completed and beta tested and all that stuff. So then I'll play it, but
But
I don't
people are
want to be
buying
part of the
it.
beta
People are
testing.
supporting it.
I know. I mean, that's their prerogative. If they want to play like a broken, unfinished game because they're that impatient, that's their prerogative. But I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to be paying for access to your 2-level demo. Like, okay, the only game to date that I've pledged money for on Kickstarter is Wasteland 2. That's the only one, and it is currently early access on Steam. And I pledged $15 so that I can get a copy of the game when it's finished. And I'm not interested in playing this early access demo that they have going on right now. I think you have to up your pledge to like $60 to be able to play this. And I'm like, no thanks. Like I'm good.
Wow,
I'll just wait.
$60, huh?
Yeah, 60. And the
Well,
thing
and
is, I was gonna say like I've seen some other stuff too. Like I noticed today. Did you see that Sonic All Stars Racing Transformed is on iOS?
uh-uh.
Okay, so they put that on iOS, and it's just littered with pay-to-play stuff. Like, you literally, in order to keep racing, have to buy more credits, basically. Like it's like 4 credits for $1 or something. It's pretty crazy. Or you can unlock the game for like $10 for unlimited, replay. But it's just silly the stuff that they're doing now. And then like every single screen in the game is like Facebook integration and stuff like that. It's just like, dude,
Yeah,
get out of here.
I don't. I mean, I kind of understand where they're going with the whole pay to play kind of stuff with certain games, but it's just I just feel like things are changing and not exactly for the good.
Well, they're trying different things and seeing what sticks is what it is. Like that, like EA, literally like every game that they make now has multiplayer, and they've said like it has multiplayer or some online aspect, and they're all geared around microtransactions now. So like, I know people play Dead Space 3. It drove them nuts. The fact that, the whole game can be beaten and every weapon can be crafted without actually paying any
Yeah,
extra money. But the fact that it says on there, download store or whatever it is, just the option being there, like just annoys people.
yeah,
Because that kind of stuff like trickles into the designer of the game's mind. And basically he'll start thinking, how can I eke more money out of the customer instead of how can I make this game fun to play? And that's people's concern is like they're worried that it'll affect game quality and design, in general, just if they're trying to just nickel and dime people to death. And it's like, I think it's a valid concern, but it's like, I think some people get a little carried away with it.
yeah.
I don't know though, but I don't like that direction either.
I don't care. Like Dead Space didn't bother me. I played through that whole game and I didn't even once touch it, so it
No,
didn't
yeah, me
really
neither.
matter to me. But I mean, literally, they're starting to throw it, in more games, and it's just that along with the alpha to pay stuff. And I mean, these alphas that people are paying for, it's not like they're paying $5 or $10. They're paying $30, $35, $40 for a game that's unfinished. I mean, yeah, you get the full game, but it's just kind of like, to me, it's like one of those, like, it's like a false promise. It's like, hey, I'll do your homework for you, but you got to pay me. You got to pay me. I got to pay you now, and you give me the homework after. And it's like, no, you do the homework, and then I'll give you the money.
That's the
It's
thing.
like,
A lot of people, especially this is like last year too, whenever the Kickstarter craze started, a lot of people, I think they felt like they were paying for a pre-order. And the thing is, like, if you're gonna pledge money to one of those things, you have to realize it's not a pre-order, because there's no guarantee the game will even come out. Like, there's no guarantee the game will be good whenever it does come out. Thankfully, a lot of the proven people with track records before they hit Kickstarter, like the new Tex Avery game coming out, that looks phenomenal. Like, it really looks like a legitimate update to like the old school Tex Avery games. But there's plenty of games that are going to fail, and there's plenty of games that they're going to be crap, and they're going to get a lot of blowback, I think. And it's not really fair to the developers, because people donate money for the wrong reasons. They don't realize they're donating it. They think like they're paying for a product, but they're not. It's supposed to be a donation. You're supposed to be helping something you believe in, and it's like people are too much like, what's in it for me, instead of just doing it because they want to. I don't know. It's a dangerous thing for some people, because they don't quite understand what they're getting into, and they kind of need to research stuff more before they start pledging $50, $100 for a game that's not even going to cost a third of that whenever it releases. It's pretty silly.
I agree.
Oh well, that's all right. I mean, I doubt your fiance will find out about that $300-$400, whatever it was that you pledged. But
yeah, I know. Darn it. I know. I knew that the idea of a penis pump game would be too good to be true, but
oh man. And you want to talk about indie games? I think we need to finally get to this. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. This is undoubtedly one of the weirdest indie games I've ever played. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, it is.
But and he follows me on Twitter now, just because I mentioned him the other day, which is great. But
yeah,
let's see if I can get this started up here. So here it is.
Soda Drinker
All right, so let me do it. Hold up. Let me start it, and then I'm gonna
Soda Drinker Pro.
So this is Soda Drinker Pro, if you couldn't tell. Is it a game? I don't know if it's a game.
I don't really know if you can consider it a game.
It's just like it's an experience built on the Unity engine, and it's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, if that's the right word for it.
Level 1 is the beach, and it's a lovely place to drink soda. And I'm so happy to have this soda right now. I'm drinking this soda now.
Is it a good soda?
I guess. He doesn't comment on how good or not good it is.
I wish that I could eat soda.
The thing
I kind of do too.
How many levels did you play into it?
That's a good question. I got past space. I got to
yeah, I got past space too.
big room or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
All I know is it's like all you
This
do
is
is
the
run
park.
around. You
Yeah.
suck up soda, and then you go when you finish the
Once you're
the
done.
soda, you're done. And
Yeah,
like,
once you're done with the soda, then the level ends.
I don't even understand what the other sodas in the level are for. I don't see what they do at all.
No, there's no objective. There's no enemies. There's no end game as far as I can see. It's just you walking around in these big empty rooms that look like, scenery. I love the park. Like, the park is just like a big scribbled house on a wall.
Yeah, it's more of like an experience.
Kinda.
Really,
It's a walking
it's like-
simulator.
Yeah.
And you just walk and drink soda. And you get bonus soda. Music.
I feel like I'm in space.
All right, I'm going to a weird room. It's level 3, drinking soda in a weird room.
Weird room, drinking soda.
How weird is it?
It's like floating cones everywhere.
Bonus soda.
Oh.
So you,
Bonus
so you know how
soda.
you were talking about that $400 I spent?
Oh yeah.
I get
Oh,
a
is that
text
on
from him.
this?
You spent $400?
Put $400.
I had to tell her you're joking.
Yeah, that was a joke. Don't worry. It's nice she's listening.
Yeah, she's not.
I wouldn't listen.
She supports it. Thanks, Jessica. Oh, is that a good soda?
Sounds like it.
I'm in weird room, drinking soda.
So good. Oh, I'm almost done. I'm about to beat the level. It's about as hard as
don't
Super
beat it.
Mario 3D World. Now I'm drinking soda in space. Am I? Let me know.
Drinking soda in
Whoa. Yeah, I'm in space. There's all kinds of planets around here, and they're all above my head.
Only infinity more sodas to go.
I think
What?
you got like 2 more sodas.
I don't know. The soda should technically just be a big blob in my cup. I'm drinking soda in a castle. That's what this one is. Level 5.
Royal
Let's see.
soda. Oh, I love it. Bonus soda.
Royal soda.
I mean,
So is this
feel like
RC? Is it Royal Crown?
I feel that this game is like is basically just it thrives off of being like a parody.
Uh huh. I would
Nobody
I would
should
guess
take it
so.
serious.
I don't think it's supposed to be like. I don't know. It's not really a game, so. Oh, almost beat the level. I'm almost there.
All I know is
Oh.
it makes me want to drink soda.
Oh, I'm drinking soda inside a mouth.
This is where soda becomes a part of
I think I quit here.
the scientist is so into
I mean, I think I beat the game here. He needs some achievements.
I know. What's that soundtrack?
Oh yeah. Hold up. I've almost beat the level. I'm right at the flagpole. Okay. Drinking a refreshing soda before a convention. Oh, it's just a big conference room with like a table and chairs.
getting ready for the big conference. Time for a soda.
There I go. Drinking it. Should I get some
All
bonus
these
soda?
charts and graphs,
Boner
Yes.
soda.
it's so
Bonus.
Boner soda.
Soda.
I stopped slurping it. Hold on.
Imagine when this room's filled with people. Maybe we'll all drink a soda together.
Alright. About to beat the level here. Here we go. This is drinking a soda by an empty pool. I think this is the
Drinking
last
soda at an
level.
empty pool, to me, that's totally cool. I wish I had a skateboard with a soda on it. If I had a BMX bike, I would power wheel while drinking a soda.
Alright, well. That's I think that's enough of Soda Drinker Pro. And that was the VR edition,
Yeah.
just for you guys out there. So it's probably going to be Oculus Rift compatible at some point in the future.
I hope you guys were closing your eyes while he was doing that, so you could totally be there in this drinking soda experience.
Well, I have to say, like, it's a pretty ingenious game, honestly, or experience. I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna not recommend it. I think people should just try it out for themselves.
It definitely made me laugh.
Yeah, it's funny. It's really got a good sense of humor to it. It's kind of like Deadpool. It's a lot like Deadpool. But that's all I can say about that. That's all I have to say about that.
You had me at hello. You had me at hello. You had me.
While having a soda.
Oh, soda.
Oh, I'm in a big conference room having soda. Imagine if there were people here having soda with
Soda
me.
with me.
Soda with me. Not you, not him. Me. So, alright. You didn't get to talk about your movie.
Hey
Just,
guys, I saw
do you
the
like,
Paranormal Activity marked ones. This hit camera movie. Guy got marked. He got powers. Boom! Ended. Part 5's coming this October.
also, Wolf of Wall Street? Highly
Yeah,
recommended. Very good movie.
it's like a serious movie.
No, actually, it's like a, I mean, kinda, but it's actually a black comedy, which is really surprising to me. I wasn't expecting it to be nearly as funny as it was, but it was really, really funny, and it's really good. So, but it's really long too. So it's a lot of really things. It's really
Okay.
it's really funny. It's really good, but it's really long. And there's a couple scenes which probably could have been cut down, but you know, that's just because I don't like Jonah Hill as much as the next person. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Speaking of movies, I
Yeah.
have a movie you should watch.
Okay.
It's called Hell Baby.
Hell, baby. That sounds good.
Yes. It's got Rob Corddry in it,
Oh, wow.
and
It's
the
not
dude
serious then.
the dude
Okay.
from the dude from Reno 911, the guy that played the cop with the shorts.
Tom Lennon.
Him and
Yeah.
the guy in Reno 911 that had the shades with the mustache.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, those two wrote it and directed it and
Cool.
star in it.
They're doing those two you just mentioned. They're actually doing the remake of The Naked Gun. Yep.
Oh, okay.
They're writing it and doing everything. So I remember it said from the two people that brought you a night at the museum, and I'm like, who the fuck was that? And I looked it up, and it was those two, and I was like, oh wow, okay. So I'll give it a shot. Yeah, those guys are funny, unless
Yeah.
unless you're watching A Night in the Museum, which wasn't funny, but oh well. I mean, you can't win everything, you know. They're not always, you know, hits. Okay. So, what did we learn tonight, Justin?
I learned that I really can't stand pre-alpha games anymore. It just pisses me off. But
Yeah, I've noticed you're like anti-indie now.
I'm not anti-indie. I just
yeah, you are. You hate you want to crush people's dreams.
okay, whatever. But
You spend
okay, here's the better
$400
thing I
on
learned
nothing.
tonight. Here's the better thing, okay? I learned that Don Allen can actually play a game later and still appreciate it, even though it got shitted on by most of the media. Remember me. So thank
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, or whatever. But
you. Whatever.
yeah, I do that quite often actually. Like I'm late to the party on a lot of stuff, like just because, you know, sales and stuff. So, but hey, I gave it a shot and I liked it.
It's good.
I actually started a thread on GAF this past week, which is like a monumental thing for me. But I explained that like one of the things I like to do with games that I'm late to the party on is I like to kind of put myself in the frame of mind like when it was released, and I'll go back and I'll look up like media and I'll read interviews and things like that and kind of hype myself for it and see like, you know, have them kind of try to sell the game to me if that makes any sense. I did that with Mass Effect. Like I was really late on Mass Effect several years, and I just went back and I was like, what was this game like for fans? You know, when it was coming out. So like I went back and I just kind of educated myself on everything and got to know the lore and the universe and all that stuff. But hey, what are you gonna do? I don't know. It just helps me appreciate a game more. A friend of mine recently went through all 3 of the Dead Space games in like 4 days, and I remember waiting like several years, you know, or like at least 2 years for media on Dead Space 2, and I remember how hyped I was when I finally got something. So like, I was just like, you know, to me Dead Space is like a 3 or 4 year experience. To him, it's like a weekend. you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, a
Crazy.
big part of the culture of games is like the hype and the disappointment and all that other stuff. So, whatever. Oh man, I don't think I learned much. That's all I'm gonna say. I learned Soda Drinker Pro. Good game. You should go out and buy
Hey
it.
Don, come and drink soda with me.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening this week.
Thanks, guys.
Next week we'll be back, hopefully, and we'll let you know. what we'll talk about. Until then,
Ta-ta. Ta-ta.
ta-ta with your tatas.
Remember me.
Please remember us. That's going to be the sequel.